Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jocelyn Obiena, and I will present the culture and system of New Zealand. I have chosen this country. This is the flag of Switzerland. Now I'm gonna share my presentation. Okay, here we go. Sorry for that. Right. Um, the Switzerland. When you say I welcome you to the Switzerland, I will say willkommen, which means welcome. Okay. Switzerland is a mountainous landlocked country in the Central Europe. It has a population of 8.77 million as of January 2023. So Bern is the capital of Switzerland. This is beautiful. And then the Switzerland has the four national languages. These are the German, French, Italian, and Romansh. Okay. They also have traditional Swiss costume. It was taken in the Mount Del Bliss. Okay. The dress, the pants and vest with long sleeve, and then the hat also for the girl. Okay. The culture name of Swiss is and the alternative names of Swiss is in German. This is the alternative name in French, and this is the alternative name. The Italian. This is the alternative name in the Romance. This is the alternative name. Okay. The identification in Switzerland's name originates from Schweiz, one of the three founders cantons, namely Helvetia, derives from a Celtic tribe called Helvetians that settled in the region in the 2nd century BC. The location and geography, covering 15,950 square miles, 41,290 square kilometers, Switzerland is a transition point between Northern and Southern Europe and between Germanic and Latin cultures. The demography, according to 1990 census, 71.6% of the population lives in the German-speaking region, 23.2% in the French-speaking region, over 4% in the Italian-speaking region, and just under 1% in the Roma-speaking region. The linguistic affiliation, the use of the German language, goes back to the early ages when the Alamanas invaded land where the Romance language were developing. The symbolism, the national symbols mirror the attempt to achieve unity while maintaining diversity. The stained glass windows of the House of Parliament they shows the cantonal flags brought together around the national embed of the white cross on a red background, surrounded by the motto Onus Prum Omnibus Omnes Pro Omnes, which means one for all for one. The nation flag, officially adopted in 1848, originated in the 14th century as the first Confederate cantons needed in a common sign for recognition among their armies. Right. Thank you for waiting. The emergence of the nation, the construction of the nation, lasted 6 centuries after the original oath in 1291, when the cantons of Uri, Squaz, and the Otterwald concluded an alliance. The national identity of Switzerland is a patchwork of small regions that gradually joined the Confederation, not because of a shared identity, but because the Confederation appeared to guarantee their independence. The ethnic relations, the nation of ethnic groups is rarely used in a nation where the concept of linguistic or cultural group is referred. The architectural style of traditional regional houses have great diversity. A common neoclassical architectural style can be seen in national, public, and private institutions such as the railway company, the post office, and the banks. The food and economy, food in daily life, the regional and local culinary specialties generally are based on the traditional types of cooking, rich in calories and fat, that is more suited to outdoor activity than to a sedentary way of life. Basic economy, a lack of raw materials, and limited agricultural production. One-fourth of the territory is unproductive because of mountains, lakes, and rivers. Because Switzerland to develop an economy based on the transformation of imported raw materials onto high added value finished product mainly destined for exportation. The land tenure and property land can be acquired and used like any other goods, but distinction is made between agricultural and non-agricultural land to prevent the disappearance of agricultural plots. The commercial activities in the last decade of the 20th century, the Swiss economic structure was deeply transformed. So the most important exported industrial products are machines and electronics, instruments, 28% of export in 1998. The chemicals, 27%, and the watches, jewelries, and precision instrument, 15%. Okay, the division of labor in 1991, over 63% of the GDP consisted of the services, wholesale and retail trade, restaurant and hotels, finance, insurance, real estate, and business services. Over 33% was accounted for by industry and 3% by agriculture. The social stratification classes and castes in one of the wealthiest country in the world. The richest 20% of the population owns 80% of total private assets. The symbol of social stratification, the cultural norm is for wealth to remain discrete. To manifest a demonstration of wealth is negatively valued. So, but the poverty is perceived as shameful, and many people hide their economic situation. So the political life government, Switzerland is a concordance democracy in which cooperation and this consensus between political, social, and economic group is valid. The federalism ensures considerably autonomy for communes and cantons, so which have their own government and parliaments. Okay, the Federal Assembly has two chambers which equal powers. The National Council, 200 members elected by proportional representation of the cantons. Okay, and the Council of States, 46 members of 2 per canton. Okay, the member of both chambers are elected for a 4-year term. Laws are subject to referendum or obligatory referendum. For constitutional changes, the people can submit demands by means of popular initiative. The leadership and political officials, the leadership positions can be achieved by being a militant, usually starting at the communal level, and one of 4 governmental parties, the FDP, PRD, Liberal Radicals, or CVP, or PDC, or Christian Democrats, or SPSL, or Social Democrats, and SVP, UDC, a former Farmers Party, but since 1971, the Swiss People Party in the German-speaking region and the Democratic Union of the Center in the French-speaking region. So, social problems and control. The civil and criminal law are powers of confederation, while legal procedures and administrations of justice are the Matterhorn, towards beyond a railway as it ascends towards Hornergratz. Skiing and tourism are an important part of Swiss economy. So the Matterhorn towers beyond the railway is ascent toward Hornergratz. Skiing and tourism are important part of the Swiss economy, cantonal's responsibility. Okay? The military activity in a neutral country, the army is purely defensive. It is a militia based on obligatory service for all men between ages 18 to 42 and represent for many people a unique opportunity to relate to compatriots from their linguistic region and social classes. So therefore, the army is often considered an important factor in national identity. So since 1990, a few Swiss soldiers have been active in international conflict sites and support activities such as logistics. So non-governmental organizations and other associations, the associative life ranges from the local level to the federal level. So the rights of federal DOM and the initiative foster active participation by citizens and numerous associations of movements which are widely. So the gender roles and statuses, division of labor by gender, although women's situation has improved since the 1970s. The constitutional article dealing with equality between the sexes has not been effective in many fields. So the relative status of women and men in Switzerland has long been patriarchal. So society where women submit to the authority of their fathers and then to that of their husbands. So the marriage, family, and kinship marriage, the marriage are not arranged anymore. So but there has been a persistent of endogamy in terms of social class. So the domestic unit household made of 1 or 2 persons represented only 1/4 of the households in 1920s. So but accounted for 2/3 in 1990s. So the extended family of the beginning of the 20th century, while there are more generations living together, has been replaced by the nuclear family. So both parents shared family responsibility. Inheritance The law restricts a testator's freedom to distribute property since a proportion of it's reserved for the legal heirs, so who are difficult to disinherit. The orders of precedence among legal heirs is defined by the degree of proximity of kinship. The children and the surviving spouse have priority. Children inherit equal shares. Okay. Kin groups, although kin groups no longer live under the same roof, they have not lost their social functions. Mutual support among kin groups is still important, especially in critical situations such as unemployment and illness. So, with increased life expectancy, recently retired persons may take care of their parents and grandchildren simultaneously. So the socialization infant care, although the second half of 20th century saw the appearance of fathers who take an active part in their children education. So child care is still seen mainly as the mother's responsibility. Higher education, the education and training are highly valued in a country with few natural resources. This emphasis has traditionally been on vocational training through a system of apprenticeship. The etiquette, respect for privacy, and discretions are key values in social interaction in public spaces such as trains. Strangers normal do not speak to each other. Kindness and other politeness in social interaction are expected. In smaller shops, clients and vendors thank each other several times. Okay? The cultural differences between the linguistic and region includes the more frequent use of titles and professional function in German-speaking region, and the use of keys rather than handshake in the French-speaking region. Okay? So the religious beliefs, Catholicism, and Protestantism, so are the major religions for centuries. Catholics were a minority, but in 1990 there were more Catholics, 46% than Protestants, 40%. The religion practitioners, death and afterlife in the past, death was part of their social life of a community and involved a precise set of rituals. So, but the modern tendency has been to minimize the social visibility of death. More people die in the hospital than at home. Funeral homes organize funerals, and there are no more funeral processions or more mourning clothing. So, in the 20th century, life expectancy increase and health expenditures have been increasing as the consequence, and the health system is confronted by the ethical dilemma of rationalizing health services and the Western biomedical model and dominant amount of medical authorities and most of the population and the use of natural or complementary medicines, new alternative therapies, exotic therapies, and indigenous traditional therapies is limited. Celebration and official holidays differ from canton to cantons. Okay? Common to the whole country are National Day, August 1, and the New Year's Day in January 1. Religious celebrations shared by Protestant and Catholics include Christmas, December 25, Good Friday, Easter, Ascension, and Pentecost. So the arts and humanities and support for the arts Several constitutions support cultural activities, including cantons and communes. The confederation, foundations, corporations, and private donors. So literature, the literatures reflects the national linguistic situations. Very few authors reach a national audience because of the language, but also because the cultural differences between the linguistic region. Graphic arts, Switzerland possesses a rich tradition in graphic arts. Okay, several Swiss painters and graphic arts are internationally well known for their work, principally for the creation of posters, banknotes, and front for printing. For example, the Albrecht Dürer, Hans Erni, and Adrian Frutiger, Ort Graf, and Ferdinand Hodler, and Roger Van. So the performance arts, beside the subsidized theaters, subsidized most frequent by towns. The numerous partially subsidized theaters and amateurs companies offers rich programs to their audience, which both local and international productions. The state of physical and social sciences, the physical science receive a high level of funding because they are considered crucial for maintaining and strengthening the country. So technological and economic positions, which research and physical science has an excellent international reputation. In, in Switzerland, I can say Vielen Dank, which means thank you. I love you, Switzerland. Goodbye.